Hey, we're here talking with Rob at Giro. Rob, thanks for taking some time to talk to us today. So talk to us a little about what we can expect from Giro in 2015, some of the helmets, some of the products, and the technologies that you're most excited about.
Okay, well, to start off with, we super excited to introduce the new Giro Synth. So many of you may have seen this as we introduced it at the tour this year. So all of our sponsored riders were in it in the tour. And then at Cross Vegas last night, we had probably 4 or 5 teams racing in it. You can see different colorways. But this basically drafts off of our work that we did on air attack and what we learned in the development of that, trying to create a very aerodynamic helmet. You step back and look at the Aeon that we had in our line, and we still do. What we learned from that was it was a great form. People loved the shape, but when you put it in a wind tunnel, it's not very fast. So we came out with the air attack, and then we went back to the drawing board and said, okay, how can we make an aerodynamic helmet that looks more like a traditional road helmet, that doesn't kind of polarize people and make them think they don't want to be a sprinter all the time. They want just a standard road helmet that vents really well. So what you're getting here in the Synth is the combination of those two, kind of the best of both worlds. You can see the styling is very front to back. You know, it's really compact in the back. We don't have a lot of extraneous surfaces, edges, that kind of thing. These panels here kind of mimic the smooth surface of our air attack helmet, and then obviously large venting for ventilation. We've carried over our Rock-Lock Air fit system, and what this does is it offsets your head away from the liner of the helmet by about 3 millimeters.
A little suspended. A little suspended,
and what that does is it creates a gap between your head and the helmet. And by doing that, your airflow, if air has a place to go, it will flow. If you put your head up against the front of a helmet, you know, cranking your fit system and your forehead is right up against the helmet, you're kind of blocking off that flow. So by creating that airflow, we get good ventilation. Some of the fun things we learned on the helmet was aerodynamically, again, you want to try to reduce the amount of edges and openings and vents, and these side mesh panels were one of the reasons why we were able to get the great aerodynamic numbers we were getting. What we're finding is that air can still enter the helmet, keeping the airflow going through, but the mesh panels actually help with the aerodynamics. Air is kind of pushed out of these holes and kind of acts like an air bearing across this section, and we found this is a very important part of the helmet aerodynamically.
So similar aerodynamics from the air attack, but a little bit better venting, because I know the air attack is preferred by, say, cyclocross racers where they're not necessarily in hot conditions and not doing long exposed climbs. So it kind of maintains some of that, but a little bit better vented for those warmer conditions.
Right, and we still think there's a place for the air attack. So you know, a lot of our sponsored riders who are, say, just riding the Peloton, they're not coming down to the sprint at the end. They're doing their job. This is the perfect helmet for that. But if you're going to be, you know, in the sprint, that last 200 meters, and you want all the advantage you want, that air attack is still there for you.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right, so we're looking at the new Sutton helmet.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so this is the new Sutton helmet for 2015. It's more of an urban-inspired helmet. And some of the really cool features on this helmet. Obviously, the styling is much different than our road race helmet. And some of the things that we got going on is a visor that's integrated into the fit system. So you've got a front pad and a visor, and the cool thing about this is the way it's designed is you can either ride with the visor down or flipped up. So depending on your style, you get a couple options there.
So it's like having a cycling cap on, but you still get the ventilation.
Yeah, a little bit. It's like, you know, you get a little bit.
You don't need the bulk.
Right, you get a little bit of a visor, so if you get some sun coming in, you get a little bit of blockage there. If you don't want to ride it with it down over your eyes, you can pop it up, it's out of the way. Still have some decent venting on the front coming in. On the back, we've got reflective paint around these bezels, and these are actually functional. So the reason for this here is it's big enough to put a U-lock through.
Oh wow.
So so you're riding your bike to the coffee shop, you pull over, you want to lock your bike, and you don't want to carry your helmet in. You can actually put this around your bike, your U-lock will fit right in there. The bezels actually protect the liner from getting dented and that kind of stuff, and that can actually hang just on your bike with a U-lock. This one here, I don't have the clip with me, but this accepts a light clip that'll run our Blackburn lights and any other light that has a kind of a money clip type of system. So you can clip that on, and that can you can either pop that off or keep it in.
And the retention system looks a little bit unusual.
Retention system is new. It's a little bit different than what you've seen before. So Giro has gone into the apparel line with our new road collection, and we wanted to kind of draft off that. We didn't want just to carry over something from our road race line, more of a dial click system. We wanted something more apparel based. So we took a look at what's used on apparel. You see a lot of shock cord type of stuff. You see a lot of these shock cord locks. So we redesigned this fit system from the ground up, and works the same way as most of our fit systems. You have a 3-position height adjustment, right? So you can get it kind of fit on your occipital lobe area. You've got small little pads that will touch off on your head, and then the way to tighten it is hasn't really changed. So you can put this helmet on, yeah, you can push the dial, you can pull it in nice and tight, and then once it's fit to your head, you're good, and then you can kind of tuck this guy up, a little hook up here, get it up here, hook it up, and now it stays.
And since it's a shock cord, it'll just kind of fit.
Yeah, so once you have it fit to kind of where your head is, then when you go to put the helmet on, you can keep it where you like it, adjust your tilt, and you're all set to go. And that way you're not having to fiddle with the whole mechanism anytime. And
the Sutton's probably one of the few urban helmets that we've seen that also incorporates the multi-directional impact protection system, right?
Correct. So we are launching MIPS this year in our helmet line, and the Sutton is one of the first helmets to get it. So what you're seeing here is the new MIPS liner that Giro's coming out with. And what MIPS is a what we call a slip plane. So it's a extra layer that's formed to the inside of the helmet, and it's attached by some elastomers, and this allows the inside of the helmet to have a little bit of movement, about maybe 10 millimeters of movement in any direction. And the whole reason for that is to handle the multi-directional impacts that you may occur.
So that kind of rotational violence, isolating you from the impact.
Right. So up until this point, helmets have been really great to protect you on direct impacts, straight linear impacts. But what we're finding is that more and more people, when they fall, that not only is there a direct impact linear, but there's also a rotational aspect. So you may hit, there may be some friction, you may want to move your head like this.
Those oblique impacts.
Yeah. So the MIPS liner allows in that, that 2 to 5 milliseconds. It's very fast. When you impact, that liner will move just enough to reduce that impact rotationally.
And so the last one we're going to look at is the Savant, which actually has been in your line for a bit, but how has it been updated for 2015?
Okay, so for 2015, it's one of our helmets that we are able to retrofit with the MIPS system. So again, going back, the MIPS system is a low friction liner that's formed to the inside of the helmet, and it allows 10 to 15 millimeters of movement in case of an oblique impact. So again, we're excited about it because it's a new form of protection that we can add to our helmets. And what you're going to see is a very unique MIPS liner, different than any other company right now, with the graphic that we have going. And what we like about it is, from the outside, you're not catching any indication that there's something else going on in there. It's still a very clean looking helmet. You still see through vents, but when you flip it over, you know that something's different.
And in terms of price point, what can customers expect from the traditional Savant to one that's been improved with the MIPS system?
Right. So the traditional Savant is our mid-priced helmet, about $90, and now adding the MIPS, it goes up to $110. Okay, so
still affordable.
So still affordable. Yeah. I think it's a helmet that still has great styling. People really love it. Fits awesome. And now with a $20 price point jump, you're still getting the extra protection,
which is cheaper than a new head.
Cheaper than a new head.
All right.
Absolutely.
Rob, thank you so much for taking the time.
Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
All right.